Okay, everybody, hello and welcome to Psychology 160. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Dr. Todd Eller, and I promise you, during this very difficult time, I'm going to do everything I can to make this class as productive and as successful for you as possible. The main thing I'm going to promise is that everything I'm going to tell you and teach to you is going to be based in science and based on how to make yourself more successful, less stressed, and hopefully help you in the future with many different things. Now, basically four things we're going to cover in this video. Number one, how to do the class using Blackboard. I know this is going to be daunting for some of you, and a number of you had questions for me. Hopefully this video will straighten out some of those questions that you have. Blackboard assignments for week one and the dangers of online learning. Okay, I'm going to get to that at the end. Now, let's talk about stress. Stress is going on very, very much right now with the coronavirus and being isolated and all the things that we're having to deal with right now. As you can see from this little graph, stress actually affects the brain. Before I get into the week one assignments, please listen to me. I have some strategies that you can use that will absolutely reduce your stress, make you feel better during this difficult time. So let me just go through that very quickly. This is going to help you with all of your studies if you guys are still working, whatever it is that you're doing. I know some of you are parents, some of you have financial challenges, all these different things. Let's get your stress reduced as much as possible. Now, this is what a lot of the folks are saying to do, and don't take my word for it. Look at it on the Center for Disease Control. First, they said don't wear masks. Wear masks when you're outside, if you have them. If you don't have a medical mask, then you can improvise with something else. Older individuals with compromised immune system are more in danger, but we are all in danger of the coronavirus. Keep yourself isolated. Also, this is something we haven't talked about enough. If you are healthy and you feel like that you are symptom free, it's not a bad idea if you can get a flu shot. Now, that does mean going out, it means going out into the community, but if you can do that safely with your doctor or with your nurse practitioner or at a CVS or something of that nature, one of the things that really hurts people is they not only get the coronavirus, but that lowers their immune system, but they also get the flu. Or somebody gets the flu, that lowers their immune system, and they also get the coronavirus. The flu shot will not protect you from corona, but it will protect you from getting more sick. You don't want to get the flu and the corona at the same time. Obviously, social distancing and keeping your hands clean and being very sanitary at home. And again, just check the Center for Disease Control website as much as you can. Politicians are saying a lot of things. Friends will say things. Your colleagues will say things. Your family will say things. Here's the thing, I'm not even asking you to trust me in what I say. I am asking you to trust the Center for Disease Control. I know folks from this institution, these people spend their entire lives preventing folks from getting disease. These are the experts. Don't listen to a swimming expert that has never been in the water. Okay? There's a lot of stuff on the news. There's a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of Democrats and Republicans saying a lot of things. Most politicians are not doctors. Listen to the CDC. You don't have to check it hours every single day, but maybe chime in a minute or two a day on that website. Or if you want to look at Johns Hopkins University, just a legitimate source of doctors and scientists telling you what you should do to protect yourself. Okay? That's what you need to check. Let's move on. Now, this happens a lot. America freaks out. Do know that this has happened in the past. This is not, something that is completely new. I know there are things about the coronavirus that are novel, that are new. They keep saying we've never seen the likes of this before. We can debate this all day long. Sometimes when they say that, that is a news strategy to get you to watch the news. We had typhoid Mary, we had polio, AIDS still kills about 1 million people per year. We had the swine flu that came out. We freaked out when SARS happened. Now, obviously, a lot of these diseases have less deaths than corona, but uh, when I say corona 112 deaths, that was actually in one day when it first started. Now, of course, we're up to over 1 million deaths, and I'll go ahead and type that in as I speak worldwide. I believe now it's 1.19 million overall. So, this is gone from 112 deaths to 1.19 million overall. I know that that is scary, but we've gone through these kinds of things before and we have survived. So just know that this is something that happens. It's awful, it's terrible, but we go through these kinds of plagues in the past. Now, what else kills us? Smoking cigarettes kill 500,000. Drinking, car accidents, even lightning once in a while. So we don't freak out about these things, even if this is the worst thing that has happened in human history. Freaking out and getting stressed doesn't help. Stress actually reduces your immune system. So, what are things you can do to stay, you know, in a kind of not necessarily stress free environment, but in an environment that is less stressful? You can do self help books. There are over 670,000 books on self help on Amazon alone. There are TV programs on how not to be stressed. There are millions of websites. There are pharmaceuticals. But do know that people learn to be stress free in the old days. This is my grandmother and grandfather when they were around. And they did not have aspirin. They did not have antibiotics. They did not have refrigerators when they were growing up. They didn't have indoor plumbing. They didn't have grocery stores. They didn't have restaurants where they were growing up. They didn't have electricity where they were growing up. And they also had the Great Depression. So they lived in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, and that's how they grew up. And this is what they were able to do is they were able to be happy. They talked about how happy they were as children, even though they didn't have all of these things. So I understand that being isolated and, you know, not having a lot of these things, we still at least have electricity and refrigerators and things of that nature. But do know back in the day, people could be happy without having all these things. Now, when you are isolated, what can you do? Um, this is something that I really want you to know. Depression has increased. 50% of us will suffer a mental illness in our lifetime. Over 80% of Americans are stressed at work. And over 50% of Americans work them more than 40 hours a week. And we are the most overworked country of the first world nations. That's the bad news, and we are no longer the richest middle class citizens in the world, and we have coronavirus that we're having to deal with. There's the bad news. And 90% of doctors' visits are now related to stress. Stress makes us more vulnerable to disease, including corona. When stress becomes chronic, it changes your brain function and it even changes the structure of your DNA. Cortisol is the stress hormone that will stay in your system all day long, and 77% report symptoms of stress. So this affects our high blood pressure, it affects our brain, it affects so many different things, and it is public enemy number one according to Psychology Today. So this is also something that decreases profits. Obviously, it's really decreasing profits now because people have to stay at home, but even when we were going to work before Corona, it was something that was affecting businesses. Now, in terms of what we can continue to do, this is the main thing I want you to think of. Do everything you can, number one, to get sleep. In martial arts, the rear neck choke is one of the worst positions to be in. Having lack of sleep is like a rear neck choke. Anything that you can do that will help you get more sleep is going to not only help reduce your stress, help your health, but it's even been shown that you can't memorize material and study as a student unless you're getting proper sleep. Some people spend all night long studying and they don't do well on the test, but I studied all night long. Yeah, you didn't sleep. Your brain can't function that well. So, number one, here are some things that you can do to sleep. Eat. If you're not eating enough, your brain's not going to let you sleep. Try to eat 3 meals a day, even if you don't feel like eating. Caffeine stays in your system 24 hours. The more you can reduce caffeine, the better you are. Exercise. We're going to get into that in a second. Melatonin is the sleep supplement that you could try if you're really having problems. There's another one called calcium lactate, magnesium chloride, Phenibut, or Relaxol. These are things that you can try, you can order on Amazon. I don't recommend that you try all these supplements at once, but maybe you can try them one by one if you are having insomnia. If your sleep is great, then you don't need them. But if you are eating, you are exercising, you're doing these things, and it's still not working, then perhaps one of these natural supplements could help. Okay? If noise bothers you, you can run a fan to drown out the noise. At least vacuum your mattress. I know it's like vacuum your mattress. Yeah. A lot of our skin sheds like a snake and it makes our mattress dirty. It makes it hard for us to breathe. You can even turn your mattress over or even consider getting a new one if it is old. Are you allergic to anything? Making your room very clean, making it dark. Uh, Relora. I put that in bold at the end because Relora is something that actually reduces the cortisol hormone. It reduces cortisol. That is the stress hormone in our system, and Relora is all natural. You can get it on Amazon, and it will reduce the cortisol hormone in your system. So it's a natural way to do that if you want to try a supplement. Now, what else can we do? Stay in touch with your friends and family. Call them. I have an F list on my phone. The F stands for friends and family. I look through my F list every day. Who have I not called? Try to keep in touch with them. We're not meant to be so isolated. Thank goodness we live in a time where we have technology. We can stay in touch with each other. So call them. Who haven't you called? Who haven't you spoken to? Now, with house party with friends and family, I heard about this actually for the first time last week. I was not aware of house party. This program and other programs like it is a program where people can go online at the same time and play games with each other. You don't just talk. It makes it fun, it makes it active, it's something you can do with friends and family. So consider a program like this one in order to stay engaged and active with your friends and family. Okay? Exercise. I'm locked up in my place. I can't exercise. Sure, you can. There's a million different exercise videos on YouTube that you can do in real time for yourself. There's ones that are recorded. You can do aerobics. You can shadow box. You can do standing squats. You can do push-ups. You can run in place. Getting our blood pumping and exercise reduces stress. This has been proven by the National Institute of Health. Try to exercise at least 30 minutes per day, 4 or 5 days per week. That's going to make you feel much better. Okay? Work. Have a schedule of work. Yes, you're working from home. Yes, you're studying from home. I'll get to it later. I'll get to it when I feel like it. It shows to reduce stress when you have a schedule. I'm going to start my studies at this time. I'm going to stop studies at this time. And I'm going to then relax. It is very effective to have a work schedule even if you're locked up in your house. Okay? You can walk and run with mask, and as long as you keep social distancing, you can still kind of go outside as long as you feel like it's safe. And you can walk around, get some fresh air. Don't just stay cooped up. Even if it's just walking outside your door for a second and breathing in the fresh air and looking at the mountains. Okay, not a bad idea to do. For those of you who have relationships, you're living with someone, have a pretend date. It is fun to make believe. You pretend that you're in a restaurant, you get dressed up, you slow dance, you do these things. This is something you can do for you folks who are in a relationship or living with someone, and it just gets you out of this, oh, we're just doing the same thing all the time. So, mixing it up, doing something different than you've done the night before. Okay? Meditation. Meditation is not just touchy feely. It is something that has been proven by UCLA, where I went to school, to reduce stress. It actually changes your brain. If you don't believe me, there is the news article on the studies at UCLA, how meditation actually changes the way our brain functions. It reduces stress, and it is very, very simple. You get into a dark room, maybe you can light a candle, you can play meditation music, but you just breathe in through your mouth, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and you do it for 10 to 15 minutes. You can do it longer if you like. It's giving your brain a rest. And there's real brain science behind it now. Again, this isn't just, guru stuff. It actually works. I highly recommend it. It also helps people sleep as well. Make sure you're eating enough, and Vitamins tend to increase our immune system. If you feel like you're getting enough vitamins from your food, then okay. Most of us are not eating enough fruits and vegetables per day to get the vitamins and minerals we need. You can easily get a multivitamin from Amazon and have it delivered to your door or many other companies online. Okay. This is what we call the success calculator. I want you to just take a look at this really quickly right now. And what I want you to do right now is please look at which one of these you would like to improve the most. Is it sleep, diet, exercise, reducing a bad habit? Would you like to increase your humor or laughter? Your time management, your money management? Would you like to increase intimacy, change, create, end a relationship, or doing for others? Just which one of these would you like to increase, improve the most? I want you, when you go to your discussion board to introduce yourself, to mention which one of these you want to improve the most. This will, number one, prove to me you watch this video, but number two, it's important for you. It's very, very important to have goals for yourself, even during this difficult time. So these are 10 success strategies. Which one would you like to improve the most? Just mention that when you are in the discussion board, which I'll show you later, and you are introducing yourself to the class. Next. Gelotology, the study of laughter. Okay? This is the study of laughter. So I'm going to show you a quick video here. It takes about a minute, just 1 minute. Bear with me. Hopefully it'll make you laugh. There might be a commercial at the beginning, but let's go ahead and take a look at it together. And let's see if this guy makes you laugh. 1 second. There is... Okay. Okay. It's important to laugh. It has been shown through the study of gelotology, and you can put into Google, if you like, Scientific American Gelotology. Again, this is not my opinion. This has to do with the studies. Laughter absolutely increases endorphins. It lowers our blood pressure. It's good for our health. Some people tell me they haven't laughed in 6 months. I feel so bad for them. I don't know what it takes for you to laugh. Maybe it's looking at a YouTube video. Maybe it's talking to somebody that you know who makes you laugh. When Steven Spielberg was making Schindler's List, he said he got very, very depressed because Steven Spielberg was making a movie about the Holocaust. And he said he would get very depressed and very, very down because he realized how horrific this study actually was. What he did was he called up his friend, Robin Williams, in order to make him laugh, in order to do something that will get him out of his funk, in order to help him laugh a little bit so we can get back to work. Because Robin Williams was so incredibly funny. I don't know what it takes to make you laugh. But in your introduction to the class, please mention, this is what makes me laugh. Or this is my plan to laugh at least once every single day. Laughter is huge. It is important. It is absolutely essential during this very depressing time. Okay, let's get to week 1. What is your assignment? So this is in Blackboard. It's very, very clear. Number 1, you are going to watch the WCU talk, What Makes You Tick. Okay, that's worth 10 points. Please read your web text chapter 1. It gives you an introduction to psychology. There's a chapter 1 investigation, and you join the discussion. Now, in the discussion, again, you're introducing yourself to the class, and you are also responding to the questions that I post on there, okay? And I just gave you a couple of questions here as well. So, in week 1, you'll see something like this on your Blackboard. Just go through them one by one. And at the bottom here, it says week 1 to reflect. It is going to ask you specific questions about what you have learned. So just make sure that you complete all of this. Now, one of the biggest dangers, and I've talked about this earlier, we're going to go over dangers of online, is that people, oh, I'm doing this from home, I'll just do it when I feel like I'm doing it. Set a schedule for yourself. I have a lot of students when I teach in person. Oh, I got in traffic and I couldn't get here, and LA traffic is so bad and I had to work. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, there's no excuse for not turning in your work. You're doing it from home. But the danger is people, I'm at home, I can wait till the last minute to do it. Set a schedule for yourself. Set a schedule when you can actually get your work done. When you set a schedule, I'm at home, but from 9 to 12 or 5 to 8 or whenever it is you want to do it, get your work done. I'm going to do Dr. Eller's class on this day from this time to this time. Okay? And in your introduction, I would love to hear from you. What is your schedule for this class? When are you going to get your work done for this class? When are you going to schedule your time for this class? This class is not in real time. So, tell me the schedule. Tell it to the rest of your class. Okay? Part of the discussion of week 1 is causation versus correlation. They talk about this in the textbook, but I want to go ahead and give you what that really means now. It's a very, very difficult concept for most people to understand, but if you listen to me, it actually is quite simple. So, let's take 2 examples. Aspirin reduces heart attacks. Is this correlation or causation? Now, we do know that aspirin reduces heart attacks. The American Medical Boards and studies after study have proven that aspirin does reduce the risk of somebody having a heart attack. Now, here's correlation. Maybe people who take aspirin simply exercise and eat better. So it may have nothing to do with the aspirin at all. Okay? So if somebody takes aspirin, maybe their mentality is, I need to take care of my health, so they are also eating better and they are also exercising more. So it really wasn't the aspirin that did it. We know that there's a relationship. We know that there's a correlation between the two. But does that really mean that the aspirin caused the reduction in heart attacks? So at first, we could just say it's a correlation. Now, here's a causation. Aspirin actually thins the blood. Oh, okay, so now we know that there is a causation because we have some evidence behind on what aspirin actually does. Okay? So one time I was on a basketball team, and they said, oh, well, the guys from Kingsport are beating everybody in high school basketball. So I guess being born in Kingsport means you're automatically a better player. Well, that doesn't make any sense if you think about it. Just because you're born in a city in the United States, which this actually happened, doesn't mean that you automatically are a better basketball player. There was a correlation there. The high school in Kingsport was the most winning high school basketball team in the country for a long time. So we knew that they were good. I mean, the proof was there. So did that mean just being born in that city in the United States meant that you were a better basketball player? Well, there was a correlation, but that wasn't the cause. There was a relationship, it wasn't the cause. The cause was actually they had an amazing coach who coached there for 30 years, and he knew how to coach. He became one of the most successful high school coaches of all time. So you have to understand there can be a relationship, but not a cause. Here's the other thing. So, SAT scores. I'm sure most of you are familiar with what those are. SAT scores, ACT scores, standardized test scores. What predicts grades in college better? Is it SAT scores or grades? Well, actually, according to Forbes magazine, actually, very conservative magazine, it said no, it's not SAT scores. It's grades. Grades predicts grades in college better. If you make good grades in high school, it's very likely you're going to get good grades in college. If you have a high SAT score in high school but low grades, you're probably going to get low grades in college. It's not as good of a predictor because SAT scores don't really teach you, or it's really not the reason for good grades. Good grades has to do with studying the material, listening to the teacher or professor, establishing a good relationship with the teacher or professor, being professional, being on time. Some people are just good at test taking, but they may not be good at time management, presentations, essay writing, all the other things that go into making good grades. So it's kind of interesting that colleges put so much stock into the SAT score, and maybe not as much as grades as they should, because they're not really looking at the cause. So what I want from you is this. Please submit on Blackboard to me a one-page paper on causation versus correlation, not the definition. I don't want you to talk about the definition. I want you to talk about your own personal experience. Was there a personal experience where you saw that there was a correlation or a causation? Let me give you some examples. When I laugh more, I sleep better. I don't know if it's causing it. There is evidence that laughter does reduce stress, so maybe that's the cause. It may be a correlation, but when I'm in a better mood, I tend to sleep better. So I notice when I laugh more, it kind of like I laugh and I laugh and I laugh, like, oh, I can't laugh anymore, and I'm so exhausted. I sleep better. When I exercise more, I lose more weight. You know, well, some people could say, well, maybe it's just because when you exercise more, you're eating better. Is it the causation or correlation? I think it's a cause. When my mom called me more, love my mom to death, but when she was calling me more, I would get more stressed because she would worry about me. Now, it could be that stressful times were going on at the same time and it wasn't my mom, or it could be, So here's the thing. So I want you to give me examples of, hey, there was a causation or a correlation, but talk about some things in your own life that are personal to you. I'm going to post these things on the discussion board. Please follow them carefully, and mainly make sure you follow the Blackboard assignments that are in this particular frame right here. So let me go back to it. So guys, where I'm going to right now is what you need to do. Right here, week 1, right there. So these are the 2 frames that are the most important for you to do in week 1. It's right there in Blackboard. I'm also going to put in the discussion board what you need to do one by one. And yes, contact me if you have questions. In the meantime, stay safe. Please follow the guidelines of the CDC. And I promise you I'm here to help you as much as I can. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.